The iPad is Apple's fastest selling product ever. It has sold more than 230 million units in the first 4 years it's been on sale, outstripping even the iPhone in terms of numbers. Yet, the iPad business is in trouble for Apple. In the last 12 months, sales have dropped 12%, while competition has increased in the likes of Sony and Samsung. So what's the answer for Apple? Well, last week it unveiled the iPad Air 2, which it hopes will stop the decline in sales. It's thinner, lighter, faster, and has Touch ID included. But is this enough to reverse Apple's iPad fortunes? The iPad Air 2 is the thinnest tablet on the market, at just 6.1 millimeters. And yet, when I picked one up, I was expecting to be more impressed. This is not because the tablet feels any thicker, but because in the last 12 months, the Galaxy Tab S from Samsung at 6.6mm and the Xperia Z2 tablet from Sony at 6.4mm have set a new standard for slimline tablets. What we are talking about is a fraction of a millimeter of difference, which means the impact of the iPad Air 2 is somewhat less overwhelming. That said, what Apple has done to reduce the thickness by 17% compared to the original iPad Air is amazing. And there is no getting away from the fact that this is a beautifully crafted piece of engineering, which looks and feels great. Apple has also added the option of having a gold iPad, matching your gold iPhone. And while we can take it or leave it, Apple says it is among the most requested features from customers. Apple has added the Touch ID fingerprint sensor, which it introduced last year on the iPhone 5S. This will allow users to unlock their iPads using just their fingerprint, as well as confirming purchases from iTunes or the App Store. As with the iPhone version, the Touch ID sensor on the iPad works flawlessly. And for those who use their iPads a lot for work, removing the need to constantly re-enter a PIN code will be a huge benefit. Also, Apple has now opened up the Touch ID sensor for third-party developers to use, so we should be seeing it integrated into more and more apps in the coming months and years. Apple says customers value their camera above all else on their iPads, and while I still think taking pictures with a tablet is crazy, I seem to be in the minority. To that end, Apple has significantly updated the iSight camera in the iPad, with a new 8-megapixel sensor, 1080p video capture, a burst shooting mode, slow-mo video, and a new time-lapse video feature introduced on the iPhone 6 last month. This is by far the best camera on a tablet around, and while it's still not a patch on some smartphone cameras out there, it is, I have to admit, a really good camera. The iPad Air 2 is a ridiculously powerful computer. Its new A8X chip, along with 2 gigs of RAM, mean the latest tablet from Apple is more powerful than its own MacBook Air laptop from a few years ago. While most people using the iPad Air 2 won't need that extra processing power or graphical grunt, for those using the iPad as a work tool, this could be the tablet's best new feature. Photo and video editing, graphically intense 3D games, and enterprise-focused apps all run smoothly on this tablet, and without compromising battery life, which is still a very respectable 10 hours. Apple's iPad Air 2 is the best tablet the company has ever made. It is thin, light, powerful, has Touch ID, and the gold option will appeal to some. However, there's a lot more competition on the market now, and I'm not sure there's enough here for people to upgrade from last year's Air, and the challenge from the likes of Sony and Samsung will mean customers will have a lot more choice than they had before. Overall, I think the iPad Air 2 is a great tablet, but I'm not sure it is enough to stop the slide in sales which Apple has been experiencing over the last 12 months.